So I wanted to get on here and talk about an important topic, which is going to piggyback on the last question that I asked, which was a question of, when it comes to looking and feeling your best, what is more important? Like, what comes first? A body that you love or love for your body? Because so many times people are trying to lose weight or get fit so that they can love themselves, so they can be happy, essentially. And I totally get it, because I was there too. I mean, I spent all my entire life literally just trying to either be the best, perform the best, or, look skinny in order to love myself fully. Like, I went after so many things, I always wanted to, I wanted to win competitions. I wanted to be the best at some sport, or I wanted to look, skinny enough. And it all came down to the fact that I just didn't feel like there was a belief inside me that I wasn't lovable unless I was skinny. I wasn't lovable unless I was the best at something. And so this kept me in a trap. And it kept me just constantly just chasing and running and doing, just on a never-ending hamster wheel of trying to feel enough, And so what that meant was, I was always trying to do more in the gym, or I was always trying to count my steps or track my macros. I was always trying to, win in the gym, like trying to have the best score, or lift the most weight or something like that. And all this did was it just totally it totally drained me energetically. Like, I was just always tired. Like, I'd be constantly in these highs and lows of like, feeling good. And I overwork and I overdo. And then I'd have no energy the next day, so I would flip flop between like, overdoing and then just feeling burnt out. And as a result, like, that just left me exhausted, more prone to injury, eating food to try to balance out that energy, like just, to balance out that energy deficit, just less mindful of what I'm eating. And it also, it totally took me in the opposite direction of where I wanted to go with my body. So I was, I wanted to look thin and fit, and all it did was all that constant overgoing and overworking left me bloated and puffy and not able to actually lose weight, because I was running my body into the ground. I was just railroading myself. So it wasn't until recently, within the last couple of years, that I start to really make a profound switch in how I started to treat myself. And because I just realized that wasn't working. Like, it just wasn't getting me anywhere. I wasn't happy. And it was just like, it was never ending, it was like, it was never enough. And I was going in the opposite direction of where I wanted with my body. So then I started to actually take care of myself, like really love myself as I was. And this took some time. I had to love myself, like, in the body that I had, which wasn't where I wanted. And that was difficult, because my entire life, I felt like I could only love myself unless I looked a certain way. So I was constantly searching for that. I was constantly chasing that, and so, like, when I felt like when I was going for a walk and I didn't feel like walking, like, I would still force myself to walk when I didn't want to. I would still force myself to the gym when I didn't want to. And it was that kind of mentality that just left my body in shambles, and it left me overeating. So it wasn't until I started to love myself and treat myself with care and nurture and listen to myself. So what I mean by that is, like, listening to how you feel. If I feel tired, I don't work out. If I don't feel like going for a walk, I don't go for a walk. Like, I don't just try to, like, force myself to do these things to check off the list because I'm not there yet, because I'm not enough, And so when you really start to commit yourself to this journey of love, self-love, you really start to take care of yourself in a completely, in a real way, whereas, the pushing and the forcing, I used to think that was love. That was just hating where I was at. And that just gave me more of hating where I was at, because again, like I said, it just left me super unhappy, and it took me in the opposite direction, left me more bloated, more puffy, more eating more food, and needing to rely on diets and macros and all that stuff to feel, in control. So when it comes to looking and feeling your best, self-love is absolutely at the core of it all. So if you're struggling to look or feel your best, if you're struggling to, create a body that actually looks like the effort that you put into it, because you're actually, you're tracking macros and you're working out and you're doing all this stuff, and it doesn't look like, you don't look like the like what you think you should look like, then chances are it's because you're not loving yourself. You're not listening to yourself. There's some sort of lack of self-love that's driving you to constantly push and go and force and, run. And, it's not allowing the body to actually let go of the weight that it could be letting go of. Like the body does it. That's what weight loss is. It's like weight loss, like losing the weight, like losing the heaviness, losing the resistance, losing the control. And once you start to let go of that and you start to listen to your body, and make decisions based off how it feels, as far as like what you want for food, how much food, what kind of workouts you do, and you break away from these structures of like, oh, you got to do it like this every single day. Finally, like you start to take care of yourself, you nourish yourself, you put yourself first. That's when the body starts to actually fall into place, like right where you want it. So if you're struggling to if you're struggling with, creating the body that you want and feeling good, it's going to come down to self-love. And this is what I'm going to be teaching inside my mastery classes, my mastery workshops. So if you haven't checked it out, I'll post a link in it in the next post. But we're essentially going to find out what's standing in the way of you loving yourself and learning how to retrain these patterns, retrain these beliefs, so that we're not constantly beating ourselves with a stick, but we're listening to the body. We're nice to the body. We're not, telling ourselves that, like we have to do things when we're really tired, or we're not talking negatively about our body. Like, oh, you're so fat. Oh, I hate my stomach. All that stuff is actually, creating more of what you don't want. So if this sounds like something that you're interested in, check it out. I'll post a link. And if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to me. This is going to be next Wednesday, just so you know. Next Wednesday at 5 to 6:30 Mountain Time. So it'll be 90 minutes of Zoom. It's going to be very interactive. So expect to be like very much engaged. And then we'll do some Q&A afterwards. And so yeah, hopefully you guys can make it. If you have any questions, like I said, just reach out to me, and hope you have a great day. Love you. Bye.